lush, nutritious vegetation covers the earth, and wildlife is rich and thriving. This ecosystem is home to one of Africa's most biodiverse wildlife populations on Earth. At this time of year, the summer rains have ensured that every ditch and depression in the earth is filled with water. The local waterhole is at its fullest, reaching the lower branches of the trees and shrubs lining its banks. The water's edge is quiet. Not a ripple disturbs its surface. The surrounding bush is still and seemingly empty. The waterhole may seem deserted now, but this is only because it is the height of summer. There is water available throughout the bush, and the animals do not need to visit here as often as they will in winter, when it will become a main source of water during the dry months. But although 𝗥𝗲𝗆 will provide a life-giving source of water, it will also attract a threat. The animals that rely on the water will become easy targets for predators lurking around the hole. For now, there are many pools and puddles to drink from throughout the area, and the animals are able to move deep into the bush to forage, taking advantage of the plentiful browsing and grazing. Although zebra are very adaptable grazers and will eat almost any plant material, their preferred diet of lush green grass is now in abundant supply, and they move slowly through the bush, selecting choice shoots as they go. Despite the number of small pools scattered throughout the bush, the waterhole still offers one thing no puddle of fresh water can: a cooling relief from the intense heat of the summer. Buffalo are sensitive to the heat and require shade and a home range in close proximity to water. The bulls often wallow in mud, which not only helps them keep cool, but is good for their skin and helps control biting insects. Although they do not indulge in wallowing, impala cannot derive enough moisture from the food they eat and must always stay close to water in order to drink on a daily basis. In the winter, they will remain close to 𝗥𝗲𝗆, never venturing too far, as this will be one of their only sources of water. The two rivers that twist and turn through this wild habitat are full and flowing strongly. Although the water levels may dwindle and sometimes disappear altogether in some places during the winter, annual summer rains ensure that the Sand and the Sabi rivers provide a constant, although sometimes meager, source of water to the wildlife. swaying reed beds and sandy runs, alternating with gentle rapids and deep pools, characterize these rivers, providing a diverse habitat suitable to support a multitude of life forms, including fish, amphibians, and invertebrates. For the hippo population, a river in full flow is the perfect habitat. Deep waters offer cool protection from the blazing sun, and thick grasses cover the earth along the banks of the river, beneath the large leaf trees of the riverine forest, providing the hippo with an abundant food source. Further away from the river, the savanna is dominated by trees and thickets. Clumps of acacias and stands of marulas and bush willows dot the horizon in every direction, creating a foraging paradise for the browsers and grazers dependent on the vegetation as a food source. For herbivore species like zebra that have no specific breeding season, the summer is still the peak season in which to give birth. Young foals will nurse for up to a year, but will wean easily within 7 months when ample and nutritious vegetation is available. The flourishing herds of herbivores in turn provide an abundant supply of food for the predators that have formed their territories here. But all are dependent on water. Egyptian geese are one of the most commonly encountered waterfowl in southern Africa. They are almost exclusively herbivorous and feed mainly on grass and aquatic plants. But this Egyptian goose is not the only bird to be making use of the waterhole. Although indirectly linked, oxpeckers will inadvertently be wherever the buffalo are. These small birds feed exclusively on the backs of large animals. Ectoparasites, ticks, and other insects provide a sustainable source of food for the birds. But it is not only the oxpeckers that benefit from the buffalo wallowing in the waterhole. Serrated hinged terrapins are found in most waterholes in this region and take full advantage of the buffet meal of ticks and insects that infest the buffalo's hide. Another reptile commonly found in and around water sources throughout southern Africa is the Nile monitor lizard. Although it makes its home on land, the lizard is specifically adapted to exist in water, too. With its nostrils situated high on its snout, and its body streamlined for swimming. Nestlings make for a tasty snack and are easily accessible with the water level reaching all the way up to low-hanging weaver nests. On occasion, terrapins will also take young birds, if offered the opportunity. But this time of plenty does not last. As the end of summer draws near, the temperatures will begin to cool, and the rains will cease. The landscape gradually changes color as the bush begins to slowly dry up. The annual cycle of life and death around Hippo Hole has begun. As the summer draws to an end in the low-lying savannas of South Africa, the rains have slowly ceased and the temperatures have started to cool. Many animals, including buffalo, will move seasonally to find steady water supplies. Here, they do not need to move far. The waterhole will provide them with sufficient drinking water to get them through the long winter months ahead. But the summer has not ended just yet, and there is still good grazing available. The buffalo prepared themselves for the coming winter. The reed beds are now accessible as the level of the river decreases. The buffalo will feed in the marshes, building up and maintaining the healthy weight they have gained during the long summer, feeding on protein-rich grasses. A buffalo's mouth is fully adapted to feeding on long grass. They use their tongues to pull the grass into their mouths and bite off the stalks with their lower incisors. Buffalo have the most efficient digestive systems of all the ruminants. They are able to digest almost any fibrous plant material and sufficiently cope with digesting it. This gives them the benefit of being able to find suitable grazing, even in the harshest of times. Back at the river, the resident hippo population is starting to face increasing pressure and competition for food and space. As the water slowly gets lower and lower, as it moves gradually into the dry season, living conditions start getting tight. One lone bull knows that he must soon leave the confines of the river and find himself a lodging place for the winter. As the pools in the river get smaller, neighboring territories suddenly exist much closer, and competition for females reaches an all-time high. If he stays in the river, he faces the possibility of being challenged and even killed by the dominant bull. Finding a new home means leaving the safety of the river and walking across land in search of a suitable waterhole. As the bull leaves the safety of the water and travels across land to find a new sanctuary, he faces great danger. In the bush, he is vulnerable to predators. A pride of lions would not hesitate to combine forces and launch an attack. He will move quickly and make a number of trips through the bush over a few weeks before finding a suitable new home. He will then leave the river for good. But this bull must hurry. The season is changing quickly, and the winter will set in soon. As quickly as the bush changes to green in the summer rains, so it dries out even quicker. Winter is well on its way. It is the start of the dry season. The hippo has found a new home for the winter. There is no space for him in the dwindling pools of the river, but the waterhole will provide him with the perfect refuge for the season. He slowly takes to the water, hesitant at first, but he quickly adjusts to the temperature of the still water and the texture of mud. After sharing the river with an entire pod of hippos, he is happy for the solitude that the waterhole offers. But he soon realizes that the waterhole is not always this quiet. All the pools and puddles of the summer have dried up, and the waterhole has become a hive of activity. The local wildlife flock here to drink every day. Comprising mainly of females and babies, a breeding herd of impala cautiously make their way to the water's edge. Although there are no predators in sight, there is no telling whether a crocodile or lion may be lying in wait for an unsuspecting victim. Waterholes like this are prime hunting grounds for predators in the winter, and the impala, like all other prey species, are born with an inherent instinct for being wary at all times. Water is scarce in the bush at this time of the year, and the animals are forced to visit the waterhole every day to drink. They make easy pickings for any predator with the patience to lie and wait. One of the advantages of living in a herd is the added protection of several pairs of eyes and ears. While some members of the herd drink at the water's edge, the others keep surveillance on the bush, alert for any signs of danger. Other animals, like the young kudu that has come down to drink, will take advantage of the impala's presence, safe in the knowledge that he will also be alerted to any danger should they detect it. On the other side of the waterhole, a small bachelor herd hangs around, assessing whether it is safe enough to drink. Male impalas are only territorial during the mating season and will spend most of their time in bachelor herds, separate from the females. Breeding herds, like this one, will usually consist of females and young animals, and occasionally a territorial male still connected to the harem as the mating season comes to an end. Kudu, on the other hand, exist in unstable groups with no clear social structures. Although the females and young will remain loosely connected, with up to 2 adult males in a family breeding group, it is usually only at drinking points and good browsing spots that a number of kudu will occur together. But no matter what the social structure is, these prey species all have one thing in common: the survival instinct. These mothers leave the waterhole with their young as soon as they have finished drinking. It seems they are just in time. On the other side of the waterhole, the bachelor herd are the first to sense trouble and take off into the bush. The warthogs follow suit and hightail it in the opposite direction. In a split second, the water's edge is deserted and eerily still. The only sound to be heard is the breeze, gently swirling through the tall, dry grass. But danger lurks silently nearby. Lion. They are not on the hunt, but an easy opportunity could turn them into a lethal threat. But their cover is blown, and they won't find any easy prey at the waterhole today. For the moment, it is quiet around the waterhole. The scent of prowling lions has sent most of the animals running off to escape a possible attack. The old giraffe has a lofty view and watches from across the water. He keeps still and stays hidden. He knows all about lions and carries the scars to prove it. Down on the ground, and oblivious to the commotion that went on only a few minutes ago, a pair of buffalo bulls move along the water's edge. They sense no danger, and their nonchalant behavior encourages the giraffe and other animals to make their way back to the waterhole. The old giraffe is still hesitant, but he has reason to be. Bending his elongated frame down to drink leaves him incredibly vulnerable to lions. The giraffe flicks his head and neck up as soon as he has taken a sip of water. He must watch for predators at all times. Meanwhile, As the water's edge fills up again with animals coming down to drink, the hippo eyes all the activity from the deep recesses of the waterhole. He is resigned to the fact that he will have no peace or solitude in his new home. The waterhole is a life source for all the animals living in the surrounding bush. And even the hippo's presence is a great attraction. The oxpeckers and terrapins flock to his body the second any of it is exposed above the surface of the water. He eventually gives up trying to dislodge the reptiles by dipping himself under the water, and resigns himself to being the waterhole's official basking bank for its entire population of terrapins. Terrapins are cold-blooded and absorb their heat from the sun, making it necessary for them to bask during the day. But not all animals relish the heat of the midday sun. Two warthogs have made their way down to the opposite ends of the waterhole and are indulging in a little mud bathing and pampering to cool and protect their skin from the sun's harsh rays. Having completed his bath, one of the hogs completes the grooming process and rubs off the excess mud, in effect ridding himself of any parasites and insects that still remain on his body. The warthog will repeat this process until it is satisfactorily devoid of the irritating pests. But the experience for the warthog is altogether quite an enjoyable one, and it may indulge in a little extra pampering than is quite necessary. It is hot and dry, and the impala are desperate to return to the waterhole. They are nervous of predators and scan the area carefully before deciding whether it is worth the risk to drink at the water's edge. A nearby herd of wildebeest sense the impala's anxiety and feel the tension in the air. But the sweet smell of water is too much of a temptation, and the herd moves slowly down to the waterhole to quench their thirst. They drink quickly, and as one, move off deeper into the bush to find food. As the winter transitions into spring, its stranglehold on the land tightens. There is no moisture left. Everything is dry and barren. For animals like the elephant, finding sufficient nutrient vegetation to eat has become almost impossible. Elephants are extremely varied vegetarians and will eat anything from grass to bark and fruit. But maintaining a healthy diet in these circumstances is incredibly difficult. For this elephant, a healthy diet is only the first of her concerns. She needs to eat well in order to produce milk to sustain her young calf during the lean winter months. Her calf is not yet weaned and will starve without her milk. White rhino are grazers, and they are reliant on a plentiful supply of rich grass in order to maintain a healthy diet. As the days drag on, the rhino will lose body condition until the rains come and bring new life to the savanna. All the animals can do is wait for the rains. At the waterhole, the conditions are dire. The water is slowly getting shallower and shallower as the days are warming up. This is making the hippo increasingly vulnerable to the sun and to predators. But even the predators are listless and desperate for the cool relief of summer thunder showers. The situation is getting dire. The animals are desperate for the rains to come and to break the hold of the winter on the land. For the pair of male lions, not even the easy pickings of herds of antelope gathered at the waterhole's edge can entice them to do anything more than listlessly wait out the heat of the day. Each morning has broken with the promise of rain. But each day, the sun sets through a clear sky. The long, dry winter months stretch on endlessly. Water is scarce, and what little vegetation there is to be found is dry and devoid of any serious nutrition. All the animals can do is continue to wait it out and hope that the lurking clouds, gradually building up on the horizon, will bring the relief of rain. The animals have not waited in vain. Winter has finally broken on the savanna, and the welcome summer rains have turned the desolate bush into a green paradise once again. Life flourishes once more, and the desperation of winter is forgotten. Once again, surface water is plentiful, and every ditch and depression in the earth is full. Temperatures soar, and the buffalo seek relief as usual in the depths of the Waterhole. Foliage is available in great quantities, and the animals begin to build up their strength again. This is, once again, a time of plenty. Despite the relief of the cool rains and the lush new vegetation for food, the summer also brings with it even greater heat. It intensifies as the days get longer. The elephant flaps its ears, increasing its blood flow through the fine skin in an attempt to regulate its body temperature. Babies have been born, and conditions are optimal for their survival. This zebra mother now has access to sufficient food to ensure that she can produce enough nutrient-rich milk for her foal. The full circle of life has come round again at 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗁𝗀. With such an abundance of food around, there is no urgency to forage continually. But the giraffe will not relax for too long. Their long legs and necks make getting up in a hurry an ungainly and difficult matter. And sitting in the grass for too long makes them vulnerable to predators. As the endless summer days stretch on, not even the evenings bring a cool relief. And the buffalo combat the increasing temperatures in the Waterhole once again. This morning, all is quiet. The hordes of animals that relied on the Waterhole during the long, dry months no longer need to flock to its banks. Only one winter visitor remains at Hippo Hole. Even though the river is once again full, and there is plenty of space for the entire hippo population to live in harmony, the bull is content to remain here for now. But he will soon respond to his natural instincts and return to the river to spend the summer with his kind. And unless he takes over from the dominant resident bull, he will return to Hippo Hole when winter comes again. For permanent residents, like the Egyptian goose, the peace and quiet is a welcome relief. The rivers are full to bursting, and there are puddles and pools scattered throughout the bush, providing a plentiful supply of drinking water. This cycle of seasons is complete. Yet the cycle that is life in the African bush is just beginning. Once again.